All right, playing some Bant Kasmina here today. The Enigma Sage, really unique Planeswalker effect, gives all other Planeswalkers you control her loyalty abilities. This has strong synergy with things like Narset, Parter of Veils, which normally only ticks down. It's also very good with certain other Planeswalkers that normally only tick up +1. So you can get them their plus loyalty a little bit faster. We got a cheeky Teferi Master of Time in here as well, because you can use Kasmina's ability on the opponent's turn with this card as well. Past the Planeswalker core built around Kasmina, we got a variety of controlling tools to try and keep us alive, some extra card advantage, and then board presence with Heart of Kiran. This can be crewed via our Planeswalkers. Let's go ahead and pop on into some matches with this and see how it goes. This is definitely the type of deck that we used to play in Historic way back, and this format feels like old Historic kind of used to feel, so cautiously optimistic that it might be okay. We mulligan double heart, no Planeswalkers. Kept the 7 ship. Some dinosaurs. Speaking of reliving Historic's glory days, remember when we used to play dinosaurs in Historic, chat? Pathways looking nice and awkward here.
Be wary and consider all possibilities.
Hey, look, a distraction.
Unraveling.
Huh. I wonder if we're supposed to play some Settle the Wreckage. Because of its synergy with Wandering Emperor. Huh. What is Explorer? Explorer is Pioneer that we have so far. It is a format with all of the Pioneer cards that currently exist on Pioneer legal cards that currently exist on Magic Arena. Yeah, we have Pioneer at home. So it's Pioneer. I'm gonna be honest, chat. My brain also thought Teferi had flash. I was like, oh, this is the instant speed Planeswalker. Settle is better versus Winota, kinda. Winota, like, you don't die that turn, but, like, you don't die that turn, but they just, like, grab the werewolf thing, and then they, like, get more Winota triggers the following turn, right? Oh yeah, I guess depending on how long you've been out of Magic, what is Pioneer might also be a question. There were not Garlic. We're supposed to be getting another historic anthology this summer that's going to be focused on Pioneer staples, but that's all we've got currently. I don't know what Luxor is. Sounds like a slow, clunky card. Yeah, the Planeswalker equipment card seems real mediocre. I guess it, like, stops your Planeswalkers from being attacked if you're into that sort of thing.
Harms my people must keep watch for intruders. Remember your training.
See, I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting a little frustrated with chat and Magic today, and the answer to why didn't Jeff take the good plays, because I fucking missed it. Come on, chat.
There are so many mysteries to uncover. I have just the trick for this.
And some big conspiracy. I'm human. Let's pretend for a minute our opponent sequenced in the correct order and they attacked with the elf first and then played Bone Crusher Giant. Because if they don't tap out, it's not right to eat the elf, so. Let's say I made the assumption that my opponent sequenced correctly and then I did that. Even a braid or something here for the Heart of Kiran? Watching a ton of YouTube lately and figured with Explorer on the horizon, I'm gonna watch more, so it's time to reset. Well, thanks, I appreciate it, Bob. Welcome back. I think there's a good chance that Explorer is probably gonna become the new kind of default format around these parts. Definitely has the most interest from me personally at the moment. And it seems like it has the most organic interest from people watching as well.
May your blade strike true.
Hey, Bang. Thanks for the tier 2 and thanks for the 40 months. Welcome back.
Is a key to many doors. There's still time for my plans.
Should we have crude in response? In response to what? The fry. Oh, I could have avoided using a loyalty counter. Yeah, that's a good shout. It does open it up to some amounts of sorcery speed removal, but I think that's fine. I don't really have a strong opinion on why our different lands are or aren't yet. I don't have a lot of experience building mana bases in this format. I'm just kind of throwing noodles at the wall. This is like the third mana base I've built in Pioneer. There's a bunch of dual lands in this format. There isn't really... I wish I had some kind of big logical explanation for why I'm playing the mix of dual lands that I am. I'm not. I think my loose mana base building guidelines for this format are how many shock lands you're playing should be dictated by how aggressive your deck is. So like aggressive 3-color decks, I'm just putting 12 shock lands in. This deck's more controlling, so I'm only playing, we've got what, 8 shocks in this deck. Pathways are then the best untapped land on 2 after shock lands. They don't hurt you, so play some amount of pathways. 3-mana Teferi is not legal in this format. Well, so Pathways and Shocks, I disagree that there's not a heuristic for Pathways versus Shocks. So Pathway versus Shocks are kind of dictated by how many double-colored things you have, right? Because Pathways only give you one of those colors, whereas these and... Honestly, thinking about that, maybe I'm supposed to have blue-white slow lands, and the greens are supposed to be on Pathways just because I have double white and double blue cards. I can see that being correct. This hand has no meaningful plays that impact the board till turn 3, and these don't even really impact the board, and is missing second white for Depopulate, so I'm gonna mulligan. The classic Magic the Gathering experience, mulligan the close 7, immediately get the unkeepable 6. Thanks for the brand new Prime, MTG Mite. It's my full-time gig, and I wouldn't be able to be without folks like you. Thanks for keeping me around. You never lose with the bad 5, you always keep 7. That's just the facts right there. Cold, hard truth. I think I'm leaving this in play and trying to KO their follow-up. Yeah, I don't think the check lands are playable in 3-color decks. You'll notice that almost all of my 3-color decks have 0 check lands in them for a reason. I agree with your assessment that check lands are outclassed by the slow lands. Oh, we've all been there, opponent. We've all been there.
You I can see.
Wub, wub, wub. Chat, I would feel bad for my opponent cracking their clue into my Narset, but I'm playing a blue-white control deck, so clearly I'm a terrible person who's incapable of feeling bad for others. I didn't make the rules, I'm just following them, okay? Hey, thanks for the Prime Holy Helix Fossil. Hopefully you've been able to keep up on the YouTubes. Galta! Okay, I think with the Galta draw, we actually have to just cycle this turn. Well, Explorer is eventually turning into Pioneer CPU, so I'd assume no. The point of Explorer is to have a format that will be Pioneer. Yeah, but the point of this format CPU is that it's not going to be digital only. This format exists purely for the purpose to bring a paper format to digital eventually. The entire purpose of the format is to serve as a stopgap until the entire paper format is available.
I'm Chandra, the immolation sensation.
Oh, that'll do, pig. Yes, Historic has the potential for having fetch lands added to it. In fact, I expect Historic to eventually have fetch lands because Historic will eventually have all of Modern inside of it. Once we get all of Pioneer on Magic Arena, they'll start working towards all of Modern. It's gonna be a gradual process where they slowly back-end sets and formats to this platform. Yeah. And for anybody that wants to say Modern's not coming eventually, Magic the Gathering Online also started as a standard-only Magic client. It just makes sense to start with the base and then build back. Yeah, definitely mistake. I think we're like one big anthology or two little ones off of this form and having all the Pioneer staples in it. For people excited by the possibility of Modern eventually, don't get your hopes up too much. It's a long ways off, chat. Endless Detour the Harvester here, I think.
Consider all possibilities.
I think I'll be in high school by the time we have Modern on this platform. Yeah, probably. That's six years off. Monkey's gonna rotate in Modern with Baldur's Gate anyways. Yep. Alright, so I assume we're dead next turn. They just put a Parahelion in the bin, and they binned a Greasefang earlier.
I don't
Can't wait
like
for Commander on
uncertain
this
futures.
client. If you want a lukewarm take, I think 4-player multiplayer arena is further off than Modern, if it's ever coming at all. This Greasefang deck, I think, is one of the best decks in the format currently, Maddie. It's very good. What's going on, Slim Jim? Thanks for the entire year. One full Hoglandian coming up. You?
I know what must be done. Hurry!
So, if they have a third Greasefang, the Kikis let them rummage here. Yeah, I don't think the amount of extra money 3+ player multiplayer would bring into the platform is likely worth the complexity it takes to add it. Is the reality. Alright, so Fateful Absences and Endless Detours will be pretty high priority to mulligan for in this matchup. Farewell's a good cleanup card too, if we can survive to get there. Heart of Kiran's pretty good against their kind of mopey game plan to start. We'll trim Tamiyo and Teferi. I mean, not only would adding multiplayer require a stack backend rewrite, but it would require a user interface overhaul too, right? Like, there's not really space to put a third or fourth player on this game board. Has required 2 monitors. Yeah, honestly, another part of it too, and it goes along with that joke, is a 3+ player format is likely never playable on mobile. Like, 2 players is barely playable on mobile. So, like, investing resources into something that a good chunk of your player base would never get to use also isn't a good look or good use of resources. With 4-player commander, now I can get room 3 times the amount. You get it. You understand. Alright, we gotta survive to make it to this farewell, chat. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Staying alive. Staying alive. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Do-do-do-do. Do. Be-do-do. Do-do-do. Open to draw an untapped land next turn. That one hurts, but Better than missing.
I won't hide from the world any longer. Let's skip to the good part.
Try and save my Planeswalker here.
Do you want me to phase you out of time?
Open that. The idea I had like an untapped lane that doesn't hurt
Keep
me.
up the pace.
I want to give myself the best chance to find that. Artifacts, creatures, graveyards. Leave my enchantment alone. I don't think Hero of Dominaria is the bad guy in this particular format. He's definitely still the bad guy in Historic, but overall power level of this character is, we need to exile graveyards because we have to get rid of their Parahelion. Because if we leave them with Parahelion in their graveyard, they just get to untap and Greasefang, and then we die. So... yes, missing Divine Purge and Archmage's Charm makes this archetype much worse than it is in Historic. Yeah, and Azcanta still has Text Waltzes in play, also accurate.
Hold that thought.
Go ahead and depopulate these two. We're like pretty low. And Teferi will untap 2 lands, and we have Soaring City available to us next turn. Might be en route to stabilizing here. Maybe. I decided not to add the settles.
You know what? I'm not done.
I've liked Explorer in general, Korth. It definitely feels like, it feels like Historic when Historic was still good. Is the best way to put it. Feels like Historic before it got all mucked up by, a bunch of Modern Horizons cards.
Hurry.
I'm just passing here. I was gonna elect to tempo the Reflection of Kiki when they go to target something with it. Gotta buy time until we find another sweeper. And then they'll go to target Blood Tithe Harvester, and then I'll bounce Harvester in response with the Soaring City. Thanks for the follow, Mike Lord. It takes some getting used to, Wargy, for sure. Well, this does target cards in graveyards too, doesn't it? It's actually kind of sick. I actually didn't realize that. So, I want to leave Greasefang in play. I'm instead going to bounce the Perihelion once they crit. So that way, I can draw a sweeper and clear this out next turn. So 29 months, Soaring, welcome back. Alright, so we've got like 12 looks at a sweeper. We had an Azcanta activation, a draw step, and a Teferi draw. We can also tell Greasefang to go tuck himself if we wanted to. Selling the graveyard doesn't really matter at this point. I might just depopulate, huh?
Let's skip to the good part.
That's true. Depopulate does give them a draw. That's fine, though. Having extra lands up means if they don't give me something I need to detour, I can activate Azcanta again this turn. Is the upside here. Teferi's also getting dangerously close to his Unite move here. Take a backup, Tef.
Hurry.
If I do this, it leaves me with exactly 3 mana left over. So I can Endless Detour. It's probably the play, huh? I remembered I could crew my Heart of Kiran with my creature, chat. That's progress. I can teach a dumb dog new tricks. Yeah, if we get to Unite move Teferi next turn, or the game is over. When do I want to Endless Detour, chat? Does it matter? It does. Like that one to take the scenic route, please.
I'm sorry to do this.
I'm sorry to do this. Don't lie to them. All right, chat. We might still lose this match, but we'll always have that game in our heart of hearts, okay? And that, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, is why terrible people play control decks even when they're not good. Because even if we lose this match, we will still have that game tucked solidly in our hearts. Yeah, if we lose, we're gonna die in like 2 minutes. But if we win, we spend 20 minutes winning. It's the perfect winning to losing ratio. Some of you at home are incapable of blocking warriors, and you wouldn't have kept this hand. And maybe you'd be right. So we'll find out next turn. Hey, do I die on turn 3? We are in fact dead on turn 3, champ. Sometimes it be like that. See? Like I said, that wasn't even 2 minutes. It was like... And I'm sure some of you at home are used to hearing this, but it was just like 30 seconds. It was great. It was done and over with. I would like chat to know that we were 1 game win away from Mythic yesterday. We are now Diamond 4 with 0 pips. We are now Diamond 4 with 0 pips. Listen, chat, the Diamond 4 rank floor is home. Why would I want to be anywhere else? Are you telling me there's a different place in the ladder you'd rather be? There's no place I'd rather be. To get the full Gandalf experience, you have to type salt into Moto chat before conceding. Oh, God. You have to tell the combo player how much of a noob lucker no skill their combo deck is. And salt off about the loss. Kasmina is to blame for some of our missing pips now. Chat, there's a good chance our deck isn't very good. You didn't even rope them. How can you call yourself a real control player? Mood. I'll take Endless Detour. Oh, you know what? I should have played my island out this turn, not the Overgrown Farmland, because then next turn I could play Narset plus tap land. Now if I want to play Narset next turn, I have to play an untapped land, which is not great. Small mana sequencing mistake there. Looks like this is fine though. We're gonna need to depopulate next turn. Worth noting that if depopulate was Shatter the Sky here, my opponent would not be drawing a card. I'm actually not sure which 4-mana sweeper I want to be playing in this format. Perhaps I should just be playing a coward split of both. Just play 2 of each.
Better from you.
Train every day. No one is more prepared than me. Meditate and prepare.
There's also a real chance that Kasmina would be better suited inside of a Sultai shell. When we played Kasmina in Historic before it eventually got pushed out, the Sultai shell I think was the best Kasmina variation in that format. Teamer was good as well. I kind of feel like we've just taken the kind of stock blue-white deck and made it worse by adding these cards. Endless Detour actually seems like a sweet card to splash into blue-white. This card has seemed very good today. But these cards have seemed kind of middling in terms of power level. Damn, you need to be 4 colors to Kasmina plus Ob. You do, but that kind of sounds like a good time at some point. They deadly disputed while I have Narset in play. God bless. So you're saying there's a chance. Take a chance on me. Do-do-do-do-do.
Hone your prowess.
Consider all possibilities.
Actually, into land on top. The problem here is we're just gonna die to Cat Oven, right? Like, how do I win the game from here? Can we? My farewells are in the sideboard, chat. This is game 1.
I have reached my limit.
Detour the oven for a turn. I need to detour the core vault, right? And detouring the oven for the turn doesn't really solve the problem, right?
Is a worrying turn of events. Every action has led to this moment.
Isn't a fight. Hold that thought.
I guess Teferi. Yeah, I think we're gonna need to tuck the oven at some point. I don't think it's worth losing my Teferi to do it this turn. I'm gonna give them an extra turn with it.
I'm getting too old for this.
Teferi can't drive the car anymore, shit. He's too old for this. He's had enough. Think about getting into motos, somebody chalk you down. You can play Pioneer on Magic Arena now. No, it's like any other decision. If you think you would have fun spending money and playing Magic Online, spend money and play Magic Online. Are we dead? I think we're dead, Chip. I believe we have died. It's good to know that the Cat Oven experience stays the same regardless of which format it's being played in. You just like draw your cards and then die helplessly while you can't interact with your opponent in a meaningful way. Farewell and Portable Hole should be good here. Fateful Absence seems fine to leave in. I don't think I want the 4th though. The rest of this seems fine. Yeah, based on how much the people who put cards into Magic Arena seem to have a huge bias for loving control, I can only assume Supreme Verdict's going to be in the first Explorer card drop. Would be shocked if that wasn't the case. Goose into Trail of Crumbs is probably their best start against any control deck, so it's kind of annoying that they have it 2 games in a row. It's like, instinctually, I want to say mean things about an Auras deck whenever I hear someone bring it up. But then I, like, catch myself and quickly realize it's not even in the top 5 most obnoxious things in Historic currently, and it's just like, no, yeah, you're right, that's fine. It's like, nope, actually just not a big deal. Well, to be fair, Yogi, a lot of the decks that see play in this format are just like, used to be standard decks. Just like standard decks that had things banned out of them at various points. When in doubt, chat, I'll drain them out. I would like to worry about you next turn, please. Huh. Turns out, chat, probably still dead next turn. Funny how that works. Chandra taking the scenic route to shoving us in a trash can.
Telling me what to do. Aw, looks like someone's getting a little sweaty.
Yeah, that's a good take, Enon. Pioneer feels pretty close to standard plus, and Historic currently feels like modern light. Agree with that very strongly.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Welcome back, Sound of Science.
I know what must be done. We need to move quickly.
So, I got a good one. They created the sound of science, wrote the book on math, and still Florida banned them all.
Well, I'm fresh out of fuel.
afternoon in a team.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
I would run if I were you. Mistake. Show them how we greet our enemies.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh shit! I exiled my Teferi. I shouldn't have exiled the graveyards, Chip. Mistakes from me. Foo.
Let your blade do the talking.
We'll keep going, I guess, but I genuinely don't know how we're supposed to, ever beat what they have going on.
Share the story of Phyrexia with your people. Such an imperfect form.
Just me, or is it getting a little warm in here?
Man, our opponent really does not want to lose to control, chat. Their deck seems like a tough matchup for us to begin with, and they've just got like Cindervines and Chandras on top of that. All right, I'm gonna give Kasmina one more shake before I call it an afternoon. One more trash can to be shoved into. We 0-3 currently? I think that sounds right. 0-3. We tap out at 0-4. That's an interesting thought. Their main deck is just so good against aggro, they could... Yeah, I think the Cat Oven deck is probably... I think the Cat Oven deck is probably, the best deck in this format. Until proven otherwise. Nah, I'm gonna flip over to Unite after this deck. Only 2 decks today, because I started a little bit late. I actually have to end early today too, because I have, speaking of Unite, I have a tech rehearsal for, the Pokemon Unite Championship Series event I'm covering this weekend. Offline by 3 o'clock. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Yogi. The production company that does the Pokemon Unite production is easily the best esports production company I've ever worked with. I've worked with a few of them over the years. They are phenomenal. Plans for Hoaglandia Explorer Open. All Hoaglandia Opens in general are
Prowess is unmatched.
on a hiatus until after the summer.
Just the trick for this.
We'll see how metrics look. It seems like there's a lot of actual organic interest in Explorer, so perhaps that could be a reason to bring them back. But also, I saw Ali Andrazi and CGB's and Nerd Girls stream team. They're running an Explorer tournament this weekend, and apparently the client has a bunch of bugs currently. Surprise! All right, so this is dead either way, so might as well fire this up and eat the underdog. Is it best of one? Usually tournaments are best of 3. Remember, chat, there's a lot of good tournaments outside of just the ones I ran. The other ones just don't have coverage like we would do. And check out MTG Melee. They got a ton of people running a ton of stuff up there. I think Croquis has a standard tournament coming up too, so. I think I might Fateful Absence this Goblin to flip my Azcanta. For what it's worth, I don't think WotC official coverage can actually do much better than what we do. Our production setup that we had by the end of it was fairly elaborate and decently expensive to put on. Why is Kasmina good with Kaido? Can you explain? I don't know. I don't understand why those two are good together outside of just being Planeswalkers. The 1-1 didn't really matter. Disagree. Every point of life on this board matters.
When people start screaming, this will be easy.
I don't know. I think a lot of people like Wizards Magic productions are actually quite well done. They just have a lot of downtime. And I would kind of wager money. I've obviously never been a part of an official Wizards broadcast, but I would be honestly surprised if a lot of the not Magic downtime their broadcasts have wasn't intentional. Like, they feel like they need to have certain amounts of filler content play on their stuff is definitely the vibes I get. Hemingway's Whiskey, thanks for the 14 months. It's like, yeah, when I say it's expensive for me to run open coverage, I mean I spend like, I think we spent like $1,200 on staff for the last one. Shout out to Metafy for the sponsorship to make that possible when we did it. But like, Wizards almost assuredly spends way more than that, right? They could do less downtime if they wanted to. They just clearly don't want to for whatever reason. How are we supposed to sideboard here? Obviously, Farewell kind of cleans up over the top. Or if Depopulate's not where I want to be, they're going to tend to only have a couple of threats in play at a time. I feel like I want the grind from Nissa here. They could be a K-Command deck, which kind of makes Heart of Kiran suspect. All right, let's try this. Yeah, but Kaido's ult really isn't that good, right? Especially if you're in a Planeswalker-focused deck, you're not going to have that many creatures for it to work with. Yeah, not choosing to cover all their matches start to finish is definitely an interesting production decision, too. And again, I'd be surprised if that wasn't a choice as opposed to lack of resources or know-how. Try and hit some land drops here. Perfect. Most Baffling End, please. Maybe it's greedy to bin this other breeding pool here. 3 more looks than another land. Oh, you know what? I can technically Tamiyo that land back next turn if we're gonna miss too. Honestly, even if we're not gonna miss, maybe we Tamiyo it back just to ramp. Chandra never was particularly good with directions, chat. Yeah, I'll take a Brewer, I think. Is Tamiyo non-land? Oh, it is non-land, you're right. Weird. What? That seems like such a weird one to put non-land on. Cause like, it's a green card, right? The green card getting lands back should be fine.
Must contend with me. Keep watch for intruders.
Let's do this. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Well, I'm glad there was a card on top of my deck that I wanted to draw. Because otherwise that would have been awkward.
May your blade strike true.
Alright, so we'll let my opponent draw for the turn, then still inside their draw step, we'll flip the Chandra up on top. So that way they don't get an activation, they don't get to redraw her and replay her this turn.
Anyone who stands in my way is wrong. Looks like someone's getting a little sweaty.
Chat, we've played against so many Chandra Awakened Infernos in this set. Have 3 of our 4 opponents had Chandra Awakened Infernos? At least the last 2 have. I'm checking my tapped out. Oh yeah, it's actually 3 out of the 4. Looking at this, I believe.
Remember your training.
You're playing with fire here.
The future is written in oil and steel. You still have a role in our grand story. Are you willing? There's still time for my plans.
Control is popular. Is it? I haven't played against any. We haven't played against any of it in this set here today.
Too hot for ya. I'm the best fire starter there is. Yup, you're going down.
Damn it. Unfortunately, we just can't reach these emblems. All right. So this deck definitely feels like a failed experiment. Shoving Kasmina into the Bant shell definitely feels like I just took a kind of stockish blue-white control deck and messed it up by like 10 cards. And blue-white control, I think, already struggles to be truly competitive in this format with the tools it has at the moment. So taking the deck and making it a number of cards worse doesn't seem great. That being said, specifically being Bant control and having access to Endless Detour doesn't seem necessarily bad. This card being able to tempo things like Chandra 6, if you have other ways to kind of close the game up, seems potentially reasonable. So maybe if you want to work on Bant control, blue-white splash Endless Detour might be something worth poking around at. You get access to a Cycle Land, obviously. As far as Kasmina, the build-around card goes, I think if I wanted to play with this card in this format, I would want to play it in a shell that more readily wants like Llanowar elves and stuff in it. So like Temur Kasmina ramping up into like 5 mana Sarkhan to use your other planeswalkers to end the game, or Sultai Kasmina that has more proactive disruption like Thoughtseize. I think either of those directions. I don't know if either of those decks will be good. It's a very good chance that this card could just be too slow and fair for this format, even though it is slower than regular historic. Yeah, I don't know. I think someone's saying a couple people said Kasmina Fires over the set, and I kind of feel like if you're playing Fires of Invention, you should probably just be doing something more powerful than the Enigma Sage. Like, you're not really leveraging the power of Fires of Invention if you're just like playing a 3-mana Planeswalker with it. Fires allows you to do some like really big busted things. I think you're kind of squandering its power doing something like this. All right, that's gonna wrap on Magic for today.